Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, good evening, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking a bit lean tonight. Why do I look lean tonight? I don't know. I look lean. Am I lean? Well. If I'm lean tonight, well, it's all set already. So, what can I say? I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening, and that is going to be those on Facebook, those on YouTube, those on TikTok as well. Yeah, and if you want to join the show, yeah, I'm lean, isn't it, Sharon? Yeah, I'm lean. I don't know why I'm lean. When I'm on YouTube, I'm lean. I don't know. Where am I going? Am I lean? I don't know what happened there. But anyway, what can I say? Let me see if I can bring in Garry and see if Gary's lean as well. Garry, are you? Oh, you're not lean. You're trying because I'm lean. You're trying to make sure you're not lean. Is that what you're saying, Garry? Garry, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you lean as well?
No, man, You see, I'm with it, you know. I'm in a straight world. I'm focused. I'm straight.
You're in a straight world. What are you trying to imply? Am I in a bend world?
Well, it's for you to say. It's for you to say.
it's, it's something to say. Yeah. Well, listen. Good evening. How are you doing, anyhow, still, Gary? I don't know. I can't bother touch that. I think it's something to do with the camera. If I dare to mess that up, it might take me about 10 minutes to sort that out. So for today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm lean, but lean in the right way, leaning, no, leaning on the everlasting.
Everlasting arms, yeah.
I stop again. We're leaning. I'm not always sing that song.
Leaning on the everlasting arms of Jesus.
Leaning on the everlasting arms of Jesus. And ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, I have no apologies to say we are leaning on the everlasting arm of Jesus. And I just came out of a cell group meeting with my pastor and a couple of the men as well. So you see, I believe that you've got to stand up for what you believe in and say what you believe in, so people know what you believe in as well. That doesn't mean to say you
Amen.
push it as well. Anyway, how is the week so far, Gary? How's the week so far? How's the
Yeah, my week is okay, you know. I don't have
Mm.
anything. I don't have any. Well, I could name problems, but I refuse to allow problems, quirky decisions, and situations to kind of get me down.
Yes,
I
yes.
I have situations. Yes, there are things around that I wish weren't around, but we just have to um, be focused on the Lord, and be focused on ourselves, and know that these things will not last.
Mm, mm.
Things
Everything,
will
everything comes to an end. Even if you're against Russia, it must come to an end. This is
change. Yes,
we'll touch on
yes,
that.
yes.
And even if you're running against the Jamaican runners, it will come to an end for them as well. Because Shakara
True,
Richards. I mean,
true.
let's first of all big up the Jamaican runners and Shakara Richards. What did you think about that running there? I mean, everybody's Jamaicans are going crazy over that.
Well, to tell you the truth, I kind of missed that. I haven't really seen. I've heard, but I haven't really seen it as such. I kind of missed that.
Yeah, well, what happened is that Sharika and also Shelly Ann Smith, that girl Shelly Ann, they came second and third, and Shakara Richard, she came first, and this was the one who they were saying damning thing about Jamaica for a while, and she had been having a very hard time because of she said she was taking ganja or marijuana because of her family passed away or so. So she had a hard time, but there's a lovely sort of camaraderie. What we have seen, I don't have any images, of course, there, of what we have seen when she won, and now they all embrace each other, and it was a sort of united image, and I think what it's also talking about, and what I keep saying is that I believe there's a awakening of black people working together very strategically at this time. So I will big up Shakari Richards, because one thing about her, she was very consistent and she stood her ground and she was very focused. This is in the World Championship, which is going on over there now in Budapest. You know, um,
Right, right.
so that's the thing there, and I think there's more races going to happen very soon as well. So that's it. But but what has been very damning this week, though, I must say, as a first thing, is this lady here, which is Lucy Letby, who I didn't know this trial was going on for a long time. This was going on for a long time, Gary. Apparently, she's charged for guilty of murder and about seven other killings of children, child. You know,
Mhm.
nurses. I mean, as something which I put up, saying nurses' life sentence. The nurse should be one of the key persons that we trust and believe. But hey,
I'm sure. I'm sure that this is not. I'm sure that this is not the first time this has happened.
mm,
And sad to say, it won't be the last. And I'm quite sure that others are going to come up. Now, again, what is so frightening, what is very frightening about this is that, and has shocked, I think, people really, is that it's a woman. I mean, if it was a man, then I think a lot more would be said, and a lot of more damning statements would be made to say, well, about men, because in the eyes of society, men really don't really get a good rap. But it's a woman who should be more caring, who is soft, who's motherly, caring attitude and actions towards children. That is what's really frightening. I think that's what's really shocked the nation.
Yes.
I think that's what shocked the nation. But I think we've got to understand, and if you don't mind me saying, Sylbourne, but I
Yeah.
think then that is that is that yours or mine? I don't know
No,
where that's
ignore
coming.
ignore me is going on.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that is no. What I'd like to say is that when I don't know if any of your listeners would
No,
appreciate this, but it's down to sin. It's when unrighteousness gets into the heart
mm,
and minds of man and a woman, really, of man, corporate man. This is what sin does. It
mm,
completely destroys. It completely warps men. And when I say men, I'm talking corporately now, not
yes,
just
yeah.
men, but men,
Male,
women, male and
both male, female, yeah, yeah.
female.
Um,
It's sad. It's sad. But my heart goes out to the parents, parents, all the mothers and fathers who have lost their children because or by the hand of Lucy Letby. My heart goes out to them,
yeah,
and I really wish that it didn't have happened. It shouldn't not have happened in the first place anyway. And my
yes,
heart goes out to families who's lost, little babes that haven't even begun life as yet, really.
yes.
But
I mean,
what I'm afraid of, still, before I finish, let me just say,
yeah, please.
what I'm afraid of is that this is not going to be the last. I mean,
Mm,
something else it's going to happen again,
yeah,
and I mean, some may not be comfortable with me saying that. They may think that I'm crude, or I probably don't have any feeling. I do, but I think we have to we have to look at reality. We have to look at reality. It's like men um, attacking, raping, mutilating the bodies of women that they attack, and we hope
mm,
that at the end. But then a few weeks, months, or a year later, we always find that something else happens, and it's happening again. And sometimes it just
mm,
seems to be getting worse and worse. So I'm looking at it in terms of that, or I am addressing that situation in terms of that, because it will happen again. It doesn't matter how much they legislate or how many people they put behind bars, because they've done something that is just unspeakable. It's going to happen.
yeah. The 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 judge said this. I'll just play this briefly if I can hear it.
Lucy Letby, on each of the 7 offences of murder and the 7 offences of attempted murder, I sentence you to imprisonment for life. Because the seriousness of your offences is exceptionally high, I direct that the early release provisions do not apply. The order of the court, therefore, is a whole life order on each and every offence, and you will spend the rest of your life in prison.
Gary, there was something that came up there. I don't know if you heard that properly, but there was something that came up, and people have been talking about it because I think a BBC reporter said or alluded that this is not the face of someone who is a murderer. They were trying to say that she didn't fit the bill because they were showing all these lovely pictures of her, and people were saying, what does a murderer look like? You know, how do you say? Why do you say she doesn't fit the bill, or she doesn't look like a murderer? If anything, I remember when I used to work at Madame Tussauds, and there was Myra Hindley image there. There were some other persons there. Um, they, the face of evil these days doesn't look any particular way. What do you say when you hear that sort of sound that they don't? I don't.
Well,
Mm,
well, still, I mean, I that is true. I mean, I would say that is true. I mean, you know it. Look at it like this, Sil. Look at the young black boys, black men that sometimes they show either on the televisions, on um, Crime Watch, and some of these guys they look so innocent. It's as if they couldn't
Touch a
mash an
fly.
ant, as they would
Yeah.
say, or catch a fly. But yet they've done it. Now it's funny that it's funny that they say that about a white woman, but if it was a black woman, what would they say?
Mm,
Now, I don't want to make it a black and white issue. That's not what I want to make it as. I'm just saying reality. What's we're living in a world that when they look at things, people look at things through rose tinted glasses.
mm.
We've got to understand that if that I can understand and I would agree to some extent that Lucy Letby, looking at her, she hasn't got a face of a killer. No, she doesn't. I would agree with that. But
Mm.
then, would that be said of a woman if Lucy Letby was black? Would that statement be made? Still, do you think a statement like that would be made? I doubt
No,
it.
no, it wouldn't be made. And let's call a spade a spade. It wouldn't be made definitely if she was if the person was black, and chances are they would have found her out long time because I believe that all the different signs were being pointed towards her, but they kept pushing it away and they kept pushing it away at the same time from her, Gary. That's one of the things that came out about this whole case here, and they said that there's going to be investigations, as a matter of fact, scrutinizing the management structure at the hospital as well. You know, and
You see,
As Susan Thompson said, someone just came in. The heart of man is desperately wicked. You know, and their condolences to all the parents who lost their babies. You know, there's also say there's one friend of mine who had a premature child, and she messaged me and she showed me she's into the nursing field, and she showed me the letter what they sent out to the nurses and to the medical fraternity within that trust, and she said, Sid, she had sleepless nights because of course if you know a child is premature, that child is not going to be with the mother, so she had sleepless nights, Gary. I mean, honestly,
mm,
literally, you know. But fortunately, yeah. You were saying, Gary, yeah.
no, I don't know, Sil. I don't know. It's sad, and I mean I will stand with Suzette Thompson by
Mm,
as I've said before, my heart goes out to the parents and to the families that have lost children by this horrible means. You
yes.
know, yeah, it's not a comforting thought at all. And you see what they're doing now to some extent. Everybody is pushing the blame around. I mean,
Mm.
it's nobody really wants to be nobody wants
To be the fall guy.
to be the fall guy, and that is sad. But then in a fallen world, that's what it is,
Mm.
because if warning signs there must have been, and probably they were. I haven't really been keeping on a day-to-day, up-to-date kind of thing on the reporting, but there must have been signs of something that was wrong with Lucy around. There must have been. But then nobody seemed to really take the handle by the bull by the horns, as they say. Nobody really wanted to do anything about it until it was just too late.
Yes.
Until it was just too late.
Well, as someone said on Instagram, on TikTok, saying NHS is paying millions per year in negligence claims due to malpractice, and also because I when I alluded that I didn't know that this thing was going on, and we're just hearing the end of it, But what is said is that the wider issue is that people can't see that the NHS is being strangled by its corporate structure, and these are all signs, and as someone said, was aware and discussed about the trial from a year ago. I didn't know this was going on from a year ago, Gary. I mean, this is from a year ago. This whole thing has been going on.
You see, so just like with everything else, yes, there's been some signals that's been given from the NHS over time, where the NHS now has become a business, and managers are running hospitals as business.
Yes.
Not doctors or people with expertise that's coming in to manage the hospitals. So you've got beds to be filled, you've got beds to be empty, you've got tick box exercise, I call it, to make sure that the business, the hospitals, is running efficiently. So there's a lot of stress, and I think that is copied across industry. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether if it's hospital, if it's any other type of business.
Yes.
The emphasis of health is really not there, and that is why when things are picked up late, because people they don't have the time, and it's not that the doctors and the nurses don't have time to look after,
Yes.
is that the time is taken away from them to look after the patients because they've got boxes to tick.
Yes.
That's the problem. The health sector, for instance, just one other thing. It's like, I contacted my medical center, right? I wanted to see my doctor. Okay. I called the medical center I started to call the center at 8:30.
Yes.
In the morning. I was told I was over 30. I was number 30 in the queue. All right. At around 11 o'clock, I was told I'm number 2.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Then around at 11:05, I was told I am number 1.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, the message came over to say, sorry.
Sorry.
Right. So I'm gonna have to call back tomorrow. So I went down there. Yeah, they cut me off altogether. They cut me. They gave a message and cut me off altogether. So I went down to the medical center and I said to them, "Listen, if you're not going to answer my phone or the call, don't tell me to wait, and don't tell me that I'm number 30, then number 20, then number 10, then number 5, then I'm number 2, and then when I get down to number 1, minutes later you're telling me that not, all available slots have been ended and you're not able to talk to anybody. Don't tell me that. It's a waste of time. I've wasted over 2 hours on the phone waiting to get an appointment, and then when it comes down to it, I can't get one. So I went down there, I complained, and they gave me an appointment for the following day. You see, that is where the NHS has come to. It's no more patient centered. it's more numbers centered.
Mm.
You know, there's no care anymore. And because there's no care, then things like what Lucy has been allowed, it would, given the opportunity to do, it hasn't been caught. And other nurses and doctors they can't properly care for whether they be babies, whether they be children, whether they be young adults or old people. They just don't have the time anymore to concentrate on patients. So obviously we're going to have a lot more Lucy Letbys. It doesn't matter how many times they're going to legislate. Government can't control these things from Parliament. They won't be able to. So it's going to happen again.
Yeah. So what you're alluding to, that this is going to happen again somehow along the way.
I'm not claiming to be a prophet. I'm not claiming to have a crystal ball and anything like that. But my friends, anybody that's out there, it's going to happen again. It will happen again.
All right. Well. We just hope not, and I believe this is all pointing towards the NHS having some sort of privatization. This is all the whole thing which they're looking towards. I mean, Garry, I don't know, but on another note, just to move on from that, and we, by the way, just to say a last bit on Lucy, there's a group of people actually who is pushing for a GoFundMe to somehow challenge the verdict, getting solicitors, lawyers, and getting medical professionals to say that she did not get a fair trial. So there's a movement which is going on now to try to get her.
I didn't know that. So,
in my research.
What do they want to do?
They want to say that they want to say that she didn't get a fair trial. They want to say that she wasn't guilty. They want to say, whatever reasons, But anyway, that is something going on out there for retrial for the whole thing. But anyway, Garry, the other thing also, which is very interesting, and your good friend Putin, they said is guilty of something. I mean the killing of Wagner. Yevgeny Wagner. Yevgeny Prigozhin, his deadly fate, and from the Wagner group. This is a guy who the West was really excited to say that this is a man who's going to overthrow Putin. It is said that he was in that plane, Garry, and they said that he died. I mean, people are saying that Putin is behind it. I have no evidence of that. Have you got evidence of that, Garry?
Yes, yeah. You're stoking the fire, man. You're good. You're stoking the fire, still. You're stoking the fire, man. You want me to say things that you say you can't. No, but I mean, okay, I understand. I understand what you're saying there, but my if you follow, just like how you have read and followed those from Lucy Letby, I have read and I'm following what is being written of this incident. Now, I don't know if anybody out there has followed that particular story, even from the time of when what's his name? Well, the Wagner founder was on his way back to Moscow to I don't know, do a coup or a mutiny, but he was killed on the 23rd of August. Yes. But the incident of him going back to Moscow was the 23rd of June. 2 months exactly to the date in which he made a decision to go to Moscow. And he was saying he wasn't going there to overthrow the government, That's what he said. He said he was going there to remove the minister of defense, because his his paramilitary outfit was not being given the proper support that he believes that Wagner should have received
Yeah.
from Ministry of Defense. So it wasn't so much Putin, even though Putin has taken it personally. But even during that operation,
Yes.
and when it is said that he had changed his mind, and he was somewhere down in Russia, there, somewhere down in the southern part of Russia.
Mm.
It was said by the political commentators that Putin wouldn't forgive the action of the Wagner founder, and that he would take his revenge. It was
Retaliate.
only he would take that. He would retaliate against him because he has taken it personal. So what has happened now, I don't think it's by accident. And then it was said, I read where the Russian air defense, they fired on an aircraft. Whether they believed it was an aircraft from Ukraine or not, I'm not sure. Again, he was going to Africa. I think that flight, according to the manifest, was on his way to Africa,
Yes.
and and the whole of that paramilitary command was in that plane. So it was not that they didn't know who was on it, because
Yeah.
obviously, if it originates in Russia, and the Russian military has access to the manifest of every plane that's going to fly out of Russia, then they knew who is on that plane. It was only, to me, it was only that when the investigations and the investigators went to the crash site, that it was confirmed that it was the number one and number two of Wagner that was confirmed killed in that plane crash.
Okay. 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 Well, so therefore, I think many people are actually saying and allude to the fact that it is it is Russia or Zelensky. Zelensky's also was accused of doing it as well. Everybody's been Zelensky told journalists, everyone is aware who is involved. Even President um, Biden, I don't know if he makes much sense anymore. Said anything that happens outside is Russia. Um, Putin made no mention of the crash when he addressed an international summit earlier. I'm surprised Putin wasn't at some opera concert, and I'm referring to the mafia, that's the best place. If he was at a mafia at a, what do you call it, a operatic show, Gary, well, maybe one can say that it was Putin, but that's where it happens normally. They're at some sort of show to a certain extent. But
Well, I mean,
my philosophy,
if
my philosophy is gone. Yeah.
go ahead. I'll wait till you
No, no,
finish.
no. I'm just saying that chances are he wasn't at people say it's Putin, but maybe the plane just crashed. Maybe the plane just had the black box. Let's wait for the black box to see what the black box says.
No, you're just playing devil's advocate here. There is
Why am I
there is
playing a
something
devil's advocate? Why don't say why am I saying I'm Jesus? I'm playing a Jesus friend.
Yeah, there's a report. Let me read something from what I have received. Yeah, there's a report here that an explosive device in Prigozhin's plane was hidden in a wine box, which reinforces the fact that the plane was not hit by an anti-aircraft missile. So it seems that it was not the Russian Air Force. It was
So
not,
what?
or it wasn't a Russian military air defense. There was an explosive device in his aircraft, and it was hidden in a wine box.
Yeah, but some. Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm
Hello.
not bad.
Okay, hi. We got a guest here. We got someone all the way from Jamaica. She said she got the answer. What happened in Russia there? So you seem to know
I
everything.
still have the answer. Good day, good day, good day.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I got some videos from TikTok with the plane coming down. A
Okay.
lady was videotaping from her backyard in Russia.
So you understand
Then
Russian?
I didn't send that
Yes,
to you. I
I
asked if you wanted it, but you didn't answer. I asked if you wanted, but you didn't respond.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was also another video of his men being angry and sending threats to Moscow, to Putin. You saw that one?
Who
His
was send,
men,
I
who was sending
no,
threat to Putin?
I
Sorry.
Prigozhin men. They're
Okay.
quite angry. hmm So it is
Okay.
said that they're sending threats to Putin
Mm.
and Moscow. And what did I say again? I saw the play. I saw. Oh, someone said that. One thing I saw said that he should have known better, right?
Yes.
That's Prigozhin should have known better to be in a private jet flying over Russia, over Moscow,
Mm.
without anybody knowing what this private jet was, and it was actually shot down from ground. That was what I got. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, you're hearing so many things, but I tend to want to believe that, because I remember 2 months ago it was
Mm.
when they had done what they were doing, and I was so disappointed. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I was disappointed when they turned back. I'm
Oh,
going to
you wanted them to have what? Execute what?
I
No,
want them to go back and just
when I say
take
execute,
charge,
when I say execute, you wanted them to have
to
execute a
execute their
particular
mission,
or
finish
the
the
mission.
mission. Yes, do it, go
So what was
all the
their
way,
mission?
right?
What was their mission? You know what their mission was? Did I tell you?
Well, they were telling you, didn't you see the videos at the time when the Wagner group
Yeah,
was heading
they said they weren't going
heading
for
to
Putin.
Moscow?
They said they weren't going for Putin.
Yes.
They were going for the defense people, isn't it?
The defense minister.
Yeah.
That's what they said. That's what they said afterwards. Um, but for me, I think he dropped his guard. I think he dropped his guard.
Yeah.
If that is real, if he really was in that plane, I think he dropped his guard. And okay, how do they know now that there was something that could have exploded on the plane? How would they know that a wine box? How would they
Yeah.
know that?
Well,
That doesn't make no sense.
yeah. Well, it could be, in these sort of situations, you have lots of spies, lots of conspiracy, and lots of double crossers and traitors. So
Right.
it could be that it is even his own people got paid off by, because anyhow, I think what this is actually saying is that the world that we're living in, there's so many conspiracy and so many things happening that we don't know until maybe
It's
50,000
it's
years from now.
title.
You
hmm
know?
But okay, for me, I remember because I have that video too. And in May, when Putin was giving his thing, and he was saying that he will not tolerate, this will not be tolerated, and they will have to be accountable. They'll have to be. I have that video even now. So knowing the kind of, okay, seeing the kind of governance, the kind of no nonsense, no acceptance of anything that seems like disloyalty. It's not far fetched or far reaching to think that this was done by them. It's not really far fetched. But
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why I took sides, but I did take sides. I took sides with Wagner,
Yeah.
you know.
I
Um,
think based on history and based on many views, like the poisoning which happened in the UK of the Russian persons, everybody's putting two and two together and they're creating their
together.
wars. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but and Russia, of course, normally will just deny it because, of course, there are
Mm-hmm.
allegations that it was Zelensky was involved in the whole thing, and Zelensky um, says Kiev had nothing to do with the plane crash in which Wagner leader is presumed to have died. And
No, but
authorities,
the man was in Russian airspace. So how did Zelensky do that? No.
well, they're at war. Zelensky, they're at
Yeah,
war,
but
isn't it?
come on.
No, no, no.
Zelensky not even in Ukraine.
I'm just
Zelensky
trying
is
to.
not even in Ukraine.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that. Um, that is some of the allegation which is going around. You know that it was
I know. Yeah.
Zelensky
Hmm.
who is saying that. You know, but I like to take the mutual position that uh, I don't know without having all the facts regarding this. But as you rightly say, and as some people have actually said, he made a bad move. If you're gonna do something like this,
Yeah.
you got to do it all the way to the end. If you're gonna do it
Yep.
all the way
All
to
the way to the end.
you
Hmm.
can do it
Hmm.
halfway and so like that, you know. But another thing,
Hmm.
Gary, come back. Another thing I wanted to flag up though is I want to move away from Zelensky, but the Russia, not Russia, India. India, Gary, you're finished with Russia, your friend, because I know you like to talk about Putin. You finished talking about Russia?
No, no, man. I think it was. I understand with what your friend there was saying. If I
Yeah.
read her correctly, this guy was silly to go in the plane, and all of them to go in that plane and think that Putin is not going to fire at him. I think that he must have known what Putin is like. I
Yeah.
felt, but it was a silly decision that they made for him to go up in that plane and lose his life in that way. But hey, listen, less things has happened around Putin with others, and they've disappeared. It's either they
Yeah.
disappear or they're
Thank
killed
you.
or things like that.
Thank you.
You know.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. And
So what's
this was this was seen by the world. This was adversary and disloyalty seen by the world. So
so
how
what
could he
Right.
tolerate that?
so
It
what do
was
you
going to
think?
tolerate that.
Right.
So what do you think then of Russia in bed with Niger, and all the African countries? Where African countries are say we are moving away from the West and they are going into bed with Russia and China. What do we say about that? Is it a good bedfellow to have?
No.
Who? No, no. For me, Africans are going to become tenants in Africa. They're going
If
to
Russia,
become tenants in
if
Africa.
if Russia become their sort of godfather, God, that's
How
what's saying.
can you? What made me angry? What made me angry yesterday? I was watching a speech by Putin at the meeting in South Africa. And
Yeah,
the man was talking about giving them grains. I said,
giving them what?
grains, grains, wheat and grains. I said,
Mm.
really? Is this a belly lick thing for black people all the time? Are we hungry? How vast is Africa that Africa can't plant them? Oh, because they were translating while he spoke, and he was saying, okay, so we have carried some now, and 6 months time you'll be getting some free of cost. And I saw when they showed you the video, there were some very iron faced Africans sitting there who like they were saying, okay, is this what it really is? You
Yeah,
could see that there was hurt. I mean, there was. I expected that you're going to come to come here now, and you're going to talk real business with these people publicly. And they sat down there and allowed this man to talk about grains and wheat,
yeah.
giving them grains and wheat.
Zimbabwe was the bread basket of Africa. You know what I mean? Where grains and all those sort of things used to come from. And what you're saying, Ashrag, is that Russia is giving them grains. I mean, one of the reasons why a lot of things went up is that Ukraine was a crucial area. That's why lots of things went up. Cooking Island, all those other things went up during the course of the initiation of the war. Russia against
Yeah.
Zelensky, Russia against
Let me
Russia.
tell you, let me tell you something.
Yeah,
Let me say one thing about this Africa. I think for me, I'm gonna go biblical right now. That's a little bit biblical. I remember I said to somebody, um, when you go into Ezekiel 34 chapter to 39 chapter, so you're going to go from 34 to 39, you will see this manifesting in the Bible. What's happening in Africa with Russia and China now? Russia is called Gog or Rush in the Bible, and I think Magog, and there is also, I mean, this is playing out according to all the Bible says, because the Bible says that in there it says that these people now, like Nigeria, Algiers, Mali, all of these countries are actually children of Ham. So the Bible says in those same chapters, who instead of turning to me for answers, you're turning to Gog, turning to Magog. You're turning, so it's quite biblical. And this is the thing about us. I asked somebody the other day, is it that innately the melanated people are made to be in servitude? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I do not get it. When you think of all that they provide, 70% of the world's gold comes from Africa. 75% of, I think it's 90% of the platinum comes from Africa, which is mostly in South Africa. 90% of, so, but I mean, when you hear the percentages of all of the natural resources that comes from Africa, you say, my God, my people, what happened to us, my people? Why can't
So
we
what you're
unite?
so what you're saying in a way is like swapping black dog for monkey to a certain extent, and we're still
That
not
dark
coming
from
out.
monkey,
So we're not
still the
coming.
same kind of people.
So we're not
And
coming.
then guess what? There's an anger. There's an anger because when we say in Jamaica, um, we're angry, so we're bad mind, and we are using somebody to do something. Remember, Russia was hit hard when it was said, because even though they said that it's America who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, that hit them, that hit them financially. It didn't destabilize them, but it hit them financially, right? Now for Russia, being there and being able to stop this project that would take the oil from sub-Saharan Nigeria through Nigeria to Algeria to the sea to Europe. I mean, he's having a ball. That ain't gonna happen. Dismantle that. I'm gonna be here for you. That's not gonna happen. And all of these things. Stop giving them all the uranium and stop giving them. It is all a revenge. And they're using these people. And they don't even realize they're using them. In 1885, I think it was, or 95, when they had the Berlin Conference. But prior to that, Europeans were warring over Africa, going in there and warring. I know what they did. Why can't we do that? They said, okay, let's have a conference. All right. We're going to divide this thing up well. You, you, France, you take there. Belgium, you can take there. I'll take here. The only person who got kicked out of it, and people don't know that's what spiked World War I. Germany, who held the conference, got almost nothing out of these lands. They were left out of it.
All right.
You
Well, listen,
understand?
I want to move away from this quickly, but I think what we're getting here is this. While we're seeing, and as you rightly say, because I've seen it on TikTok and everybody's talking about it, whereby Russia is going into bed with South Africa and all the different African countries, and even with Nigeria, they're showing the Russian flag. But what we're seeing actually, in light of this particular case here, it's a strange bedfellow. And what we're seeing as well, it could be said that Africa has not learned to stand on their
Has
own.
not learned. Has not
So
learned. Remember
what
when
we're
they went to UN meetings or NATO, they never had a chair at the table. They never had a chair at the table. So when I saw the platform yesterday, I was saying, so where is Ibrahim Toure? Where are these people to be up there on the platform? They were down in the audience being spoken to. You don't do that now. You take your position. This is Africa where you're in. The
right.
only person I saw there was a South African man there who he wants to be the president of Africa. And you know that he sold out a long time ago. But I needed to see Ibrahim from Burkina Faso. I need to see that beautiful, that handsome young fighter on the platform, up there with Putin, up there with all of them. He was in the audience, sitting down. So was the Nigerian president. So was the Mali president. They were all sitting down as they always do in these European conferences. They only
Oh,
use them for votes because they didn't have a talk at the table.
okay.
And
Okay.
this is
All
replicated right now.
Okay, let's move on quickly. Ruan just came in a while ago. Ruan, how are you? What's your take? I want to move quickly onto another topic because we're Ruan, can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm to be honest, I'm glad that we're discussing these issues in
Yeah.
Africa and how it relates to Europe because these issues have been festering and bubbling for some time, and it has required our intervention and our thoughts. So just the mere fact that we're discussing these things on a public platform could contribute towards giving an opinion ahead of time, because as we know, prevention is better than cure.
Yes, yes, yes. And the point which was flagged up about Russia and South Africa, Niger, and everybody's in bed with Russia now, moving away from the West Franco. And in light of what happened recently, well, alleged with the killing of Wagner's top guy, do you think it's a good move by African nations to somehow swapping black dog for monkey in a way, or seeing Russia as and China as their godfather instead of standing on their own?
I feel like Africa deserves the right to have a variety of relationships with a variety of different nations. And there was a stage in life where they were being guided into relationships with specific bodies without their having the freedom of choice. So where Russia is now and has been conducting business in Africa, in areas unseen to the natural eye, I believe it's given Africa a universal sense of geopolitics and economics, which allows them to align themselves strategically within the aspect of trade and socio-economics. So I also am positive about the steps being taken, and I'm glad that Ukraine has been curbed in their geopolitics, because there's been some neo-Nazi stuff which I haven't been happy to see.
Yes, yes, yes. Gary,
Well,
what's your take? Sorry, let's hear from Gary. That poignant question there about the relationship with
Well, yeah,
Russia.
well, I mean, Rohan and I didn't hashtag. That's
Yeah,
not your name, is it?
no,
that's
it's
me.
Andrea.
Andrea, Andrea.
Andrea.
Yeah,
Okay, Andrew.
yeah,
No, I mean, over. It seemed I will agree with what Rowan and Andrea has said. Not read this chess piece or this chess game properly at all, and it's the same moves every time.
yeah,
It's the Western nations, they call the shots and we run them down. Instead of, if they want to call the shots, fine, but they've got to play to our tune. But we are not that savvy enough. And the thing about, we've got some very intelligent black men and women in Africa. I don't know why they're allowing now Russia and China to go in there and to ravish. They're almost doing the same thing the West has done over the years, only in a different format now. And then for Putin then to say, we're going to give you free grain, when the grain when the grain is down in Africa itself. Why are they going to give them free grain when they're growing the grain down there in the first place? You see? So Africa, the leaders of Africa, they need, as Andrea was saying, and I agree with her, they need to get off the ground floor and go and be able to sit down around the table beside Putin and say, listen, we are not going to be dictated to, but we need to also be able to contribute into our own lives now, and both economically, financially, and in whatever way possible. But we can't always, or Africans must not always be talked down to as if to say we're second class.
yeah,
We've just got to realize who we are, and we are a great people. But but unless we realize that, still, Andrea and Ron, then we're not going to get off this floor at all.
yeah. That's very interesting. Rowan, what's your say?
I'm just constantly disappointed with the lack of economic foresight I'm seeing coming out of Africa. On one hand, I do want to blame the leaders, but their job is to set the infrastructure for people to have free will. So on the other hand, there's a lot of men who are not applying themselves to politics and geopolitics or having their voice heard. And there were strategic issues with Ukraine supplying grain to East Africa, because if they were withholding it and using it as a political tool, which has economic effects to the breadbasket of Africa, for example. So, you know, I believe that Putin is an adult. I believe that he makes strategic decisions based on trade. And I don't believe that he has any ill intentions. I also am thankful that there is a Russia and a China to bring some diversity. But
Yes.
what it still comes down to is that trade is trade and economics is economics. And both countries, Russia and China, have their own issues which need developing. And it's a recognition of Africa's brilliance for them to actually want to invest and trade. But not enough men there are actively delivering for their own country, which is why they're waiting on other people. But I want to be impartial and say this is what is forming a cosmopolitan, unbiased, level playing field. Because there's nothing wrong with Russia or China investing in Africa, especially because it needs development, it needs infrastructure. And if their own people who are living there are not delivering tax receipts or investing in their own country, someone has to do it. And they are equally, Russia and China, to summarize, they are equally invested in Africa. Everybody is. Everybody wants Africa to succeed, but there's large problems within the economy.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we come to Ashraf, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining on those on TikTok. We're talking about in review and looking at the relationship with Russia and Africa. Those on Instagram as well, please share it and please like it as well. Those on Instagram and Facebook, I'm joined by Ashraf, Rowan, Reverend Garry, Graham, and myself, just looking at a few different topics. Ashraf, just last bit before I switch, I want to really touch on a couple more things. Ashraf, your last word on this topic.
Okay, my last word is there's something gnawing at me. It's like it's like an intuition that says something. Because okay, just the part alone where the highlight of the meeting was Putin talking about offering grains or giving free grains. That did not sit well with me. And Africa is much larger than she is, or we are being told that Africa is. All right, and nobody would invest in something in you if they didn't know they're going to get exponential amount of benefits based on that. And for me, I think Africans are too tribalistic and too much in their traditions, and they do not believe to think that in Africa, any European can go to Africa or American, but anybody can go to Africa without a visa. Africans in Africa need visa to traverse other African nations. How divided can we really be? I mean, we need to sort these things out, get these things done. The only thing we use Putin for is just to be there as a proxy to keep them off. Because I mean, France would have probably done something already had Putin not been there. But since they want to use us, I would say use them then for that part. And since because North Korea comes in now, North Korea is offering to sell them weapons. So North Korea is now in the deal. And what hurt me the other day too was when they went to North Korea the other day, there was no African representation. It was China. It was China in North Korea with Russia and but Africa wasn't there. And when you come to the BRICS, they're saying that their BRIC thing is going to be worth 55 US to 1. Is Africa is able to come to them and say, listen, whatever you do, whatever the currency is, we need to have it that it is not transitioned from our currency to that to buy that. There's too much to sort out to jump in bed right now. For right now, use them for security to keep off the big bad bully them off of you. Buy the weapons that you think you might need. But yeah, that's my input.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and as what Rowan said, it's good that we're discussing this, and I will keep discussing this matter over and over, the whole issue regarding Africa, as I've been saying that there's an awakening, but we're going to make sure that when you wake up on the right side of the bed. I'm trying to say you don't want to wake up on some wrong side. But I think it's a good thing which is happening, plus also with the whole Republic debate and everything. But I wanted to just bring up one more thing, and that was, it was very interesting that the United Kingdom still provide millions of pounds in aid to India, you know. And the question is, can a nation that invests significantly in space exploration and technological advancement justify the necessity of such aid? And I'm talking on the background of India recently touching, going to the moon, and with the presence of, and I did a research, the presence of 229 people living in poverty. You know, yeah. What do you guys say on this? I'm going briefly on this one. I just throw that out as a sort of spanner in the works. Rowan.
I am livid with the fact that we're sending them aid. It bugs me to my core. They are they are it's extremely frustrating because there's so many issues in India which need dealing with now. And on one hand, I support research and development and exploration, but priorities are important. There's 150,000 people from India leaving there and coming to the UK per year looking for opportunities. There's mass poverties in the area, there's infrastructural problems, there's racial problems, there's religious problems. And that constant looking away like the grass is greener and looking for pastures new is what is contributing to their poor economic scenario, social economic scenario. And then when we look at the UK, which always gets the blame, and anytime anything goes wrong, it's the British's fault. But every time I've investigated where the money from Britain goes to, it's always going to things that someone else should be doing. It should be going, India should be delivering that level of aid now. People like to throw out the word colonialism and all of this stuff, but everybody's independent, so to say. So when I always investigate the UK's finances and find out where they spend money, I always lose my anger because hold on a minute, they're giving aid to hair, they're giving aid to hair, things that I didn't, places that I didn't even think needed aid they're giving aid to. So then it just highlights to me how valuable the British is to geopolitics.
And Ron, one of the interesting thing also is that they're giving aid to France to curb the whole immigration bit, but yet it doesn't stop anything. They're even giving aid to France as well.
It's a work in progress, I will say that. I know the metrics of the immigration and I know the geopolitics of it all, and the steps the British have taken have started to bear fruits, if you will. And it's going to take a lot more strength and guidance from us, the people, for it to really take effect. Because I guarantee you, once the borders of the UK are secure, that's when prosperity will come. And prosperity here affects, other locations across the world.
Mm. Garry, what's your take on the bit with India and the space race, the race war, space
I
age?
mean, Rowan has hit the nail on the head. Really, I mean, India. Look at India. I mean, if there's a place where there's mass poverty and help and all of that, it's India. Yet India is receiving aid from the UK, as you've noted. Plus, India is also a nuclear country. They're boasting that they've got a nuclear bomb. What they're doing with that? What they're doing with a nuclear bomb when they can't feed the people? It's absolutely, it's mind-boggling. And even when you think of China, I mean, China also, just like the UK, probably on a larger scale for them, they need help. They are also receiving aid from the UK, and they are also a nuclear country. You see, all of these countries, if I don't know what's wrong with our leaders, I really, really don't, because most of these countries that are in need of help because their citizens are are desperate. I mean, I think it was Ron who gave a figure of how many Indians are coming here to the UK, running away from poverty, running away from hardship, running away from from disease and all of these things. And yet they are pouring in millions of their hard-earned US or rupees, if that's correct, to put a man or to put a machine on the moon. It's absolutely, you know, that is, if that is not stupidity at its highest, then I don't know what is. It's just unbelievable, really.
Yes. Ashrag, you're in Jamaica
Okay.
there. What do you think on it?
Okay.
Should Jamaica give them aid as well?
For me, what I say about the aid is that, okay, since Britain won't do the repatriation, spend the money unwisely. But for me, though, the Indian are saying that they have stepped away from government, and it's actually SpaceX that is funding this thing, right? But then for me again, this is like, I don't believe anybody ever went to the moon. I don't believe in the space travel. And there was never any moon landing. It was all a hoax, and there's too much to prove it now for me to even think about it. So this is all a way of making money, just like what NASA does. They get 34 billion every year to fund that. I just saw the other day where there was a meeting, an investigation, and the persons were saying, okay, where are you planning on going now? Because since you say you're gone, I know what the man said. The video ended. He said, we're going to go to the moon. They've never been to nowhere. I don't believe in that. So this one thing, I have information on all that they have said, and between 1969 and 72, they went 7 times. I mean, six manned and 1 unmanned. You would say Russia said they went with an unmanned thing first into space. India said, I don't believe nothing happens like that. Because first of all, I don't think these two entities, the moon or the sun, are solid for anybody to do any landing on. I don't.
So did you believe then that India went to the moon then?
Nobody went to the moon.
But they said
Nobody, it's all robbery. Nobody went to the moon. Nobody, remember, there was
they just said they went to the moon a while ago.
They went to no moon. There was a
went to the Amazon first.
There was a shuttle. No, there was. But this is all over now. The evidence is there. When you look at the moon landing, and you see
The
now.
evidence, sorry to cut you. The evidence is there to support what you're saying, or to do you believe it now?
To disprove. It looks so ridiculous. When you look at the moon landing in the 70s and 60s, you can see the foil paper, you can see the cords that attached to them, and the green space that they went behind. But I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. I laughed until
that internet that time as well. Okay.
I laughed until I almost choked. And one of the questions you asked, okay, who was in space videotaping the landing? Who was taping the landing when they went there? Somebody said somebody was out there with a
Garry was there like videotaping But I'm not talking about then now. Then can be the sense of conspiracy and hoax or whatever like that, and opinions may differ. What about now? I'm talking about now with
the fact that India said that they went, they sent things into space in 63 and 69, I think it was. The fact that they lied. Remember the last shuttle, one of the shuttle that was some years ago that was said to have exploded, and this teacher was the first civilian to be going on a thing, and it exploded before it left, and they all died. And the reporters in America are finding these people alive and well. It's all been a conspiracy. There was no landing. They're not talking about it. There was no landing. There really was no landing. And when you say they're practicing,
I would also like to contribute a positive opinion as well, because on one hand we can all discuss it, but let's just take it on its merits, on what's out there. When they did hit the moon, we have to give them a round of applause, because it must have been a difficult, challenge, and with all of these economic issues that we're facing, for them to achieve that and be the first person, they have to be commended. And with space exploration, crossing boundaries, we have to give them their merits.
Well, Ashrag, well, as Ron says, based on the information which is coming through, we give them the merit and we give them an applause. Yeah. What do you say,
Go
Ashrag?
ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not giving right now. I'm Sylbourne
Yeah.
and the other members on the panel right now. So as I'm concerned, I am rebooting. I'm in a process of rebooting for all the lies that I'm finding out now in my investigations of things that were said to have happened. It's as if the life I've lived before was a lie. I am rebooting. Is 2 and 2 really 4? I mean, what is truth
Yes,
anymore?
it is. 2 and 2 is 4. And I would also like to caution you about what information you take in, because right now there's a wider pool of international provocateurs who are pumping information to create division and doubt within the black community, because it takes our focus away from achieving the things that we should be achieving. For example, government contracts which are in a surplus, fruitful and buoyant. There's many things that we should be focusing on, but it seems that because we're in an internet heavy day and age, people can sit in their room and purposely pump out provocative and divisive rhetoric because they know the majority of the people consuming them are of a Caribbean or African nature. And we don't tend to lean towards government or take what they say as gospel per
Can,
se.
can,
So
can I?
there is a
Okay, so
strategic
are you
aspect.
calling me are you
One second.
calling me gullible then?
No,
Are
no.
you calling me gullible?
I'm asking you to err on the side of caution with the information that you consume and not
And can I
always continue.
and can I tell you one thing? My
Sure.
information doesn't come from Google. Information that I'm getting doesn't come from, it doesn't give you much on things that are really important. And it's in my Bible. I don't know how many persons here believe in it, but you see, my Bible, it speaks to me. It speaks a lot to me, and I go there for a
But
lot of
that's an issue though.
information.
I'm going to be honest with you. So people,
Yes, and I know, and I know
man's
it was
man's in,
tampered with.
man's interpretation of the Bible is what is contributing to a load of confusion in the world, because the Bible is a springboard to God, and it says it in there that their interpretation can cause harm. So you have to be mindful with how much you interpret from the Bible.
Well, I mean, the Bible, the scripture does say, and Gary can always back it up. One must equally, rightly divide the word of truth, because I mean to say, if you should rightly and equally divide it, I mean to say you can wrongly and unequally divide it. So you're right when it comes on to interpretation, and to understand the Bible to a higher level. One has to have a deep relationship with God via the Holy Spirit, because it's
And
spirit,
I'm not,
life.
and I'm not talking about this little Bible alone that we have. The
Mm.
volumes of Bible that I'm exposed to and using now even tells me about my creation, right? And let me tell you, there were many things because I'm being cautioned to be careful what I
No, no,
consume and
no,
how
no.
I.
Hold on. I must also caution you as well, not to be too cautious on the Sylbourne show. So I'm
Freedom is
cautioning
a
you as
must.
well, not to be too
Freedom is a
cautious.
must.
No, but listen.
I like to. I like. I've been through the period of time when COVID was around. When you mentioned the word juke and everything like that, and they shut us down. I've passed that
Mm-hmm,
period now, so therefore I don't
mm-hmm,
like to exercise caution too much.
mm-hmm,
I don't like
mm-hmm.
to. I don't want people to feel like you're going to be censored. I want you to speak freely, unapologetically, but of course with respect. That's all.
With respect, right? Quite in content. But listen, there are many things that people that we have seen manifested over a couple of years too. Let's be particular about a couple of years. That we have seen things that people spoke about within 2 or 3 years, and it was said that they were, and I put myself in it. We were conspiracy theorists, and we were making trouble, and then guess what? All that they're saying, I don't get it though, because all that was said to be conspiracy theory has really come to fore. It's come to fruition. It's happening. It's not out there. It is there, undeniably so. Undeniably so. Now, when it comes down to the joke, that was number one thing, right? And it isn't no something that is that they no longer hide. They tell you there are other things that were said, and the persons are coming out and they're telling you what it is. So what we need to do is in deciphering through the whole or the vast amount of things to look through, in deciphering truth from untruth, we need to not to make sure that we do not throw truth outside or through the window and embrace untruth either, because that will take away from us going forward. Because the good book did say, my people are destroyed for lack of
Knowledge.
knowledge. So there's nothing wrong with knowledge and finding out and investigating and getting the truth. There isn't anything wrong with that. So
All right.
in cautioning me too, I will caution you too to say to you, be mindful of the truth that you make into a lie, because there's something called fallacy to authority. Yes, authority fallacy. We must be mindful of that.
I like this because it's coming from all different levels. We're cautioning each other at the same time. And the question is, Garry, the question is this before we move on quickly on this one. What is the truth? How do we debunk it? How will we know what is the truth? Listen, there's so many things going on that the other day I was thinking about debunk, everything debunk. No wonder they came up with this whole thing about fact checkers. To try to create some sort of standard, isn't it, Ruan and Garry? Garry, what do you think about this truth? Everybody's have a truth. What is the truth, Garry?
Well, I mean, okay. I like what Andrew has said, and I like also what Rowan has said. Andrew has brought the Bible, the Word of God, in which that is what I also look to, and as a minister of the gospel, I lean very heavily on that also. At the same time, I agree with what Rowan says. There's been religion, let's brought it up. Religion has been the cause of many of the world's problems today, many of the wars. And if you anybody out in amongst the audience are history buffins, they will know that many of the wars that have raged within the borders of Europe alone, never mind the world over, it's over religion. And especially when it comes to Christianity and our form of Christianity today, amongst, if I can bring it down to our level in the sense of West Indian. I don't know if Rowan is West Indian.
Please, I would like to, sorry to cut you, Garry, but I would like to refrain from using the word or the phrase West Indian, because there is no West in the...
When Christopher Columbus made a mistake. I get you coming from Rowan as well, yeah.
That's another subject for another time. That's another subject.
But it also connects to
that one day, yeah.
Yeah.
It also connects to India's global politics, because the fact that they're all over the global spectrum, they're all over the corporate spectrum, and on one hand, them reaching these new heights brings question about what are we doing as Jamaicans? Why are we not building rockets and at least trying to attempt to reach the moon?
Ron, you touch a fundamental point, and I want to wrap up on something.
Why did he do that? Why did he touch that? Why did he say that?
No, let Garry finish this point first, and then.
No, but yeah. I mean, all what Rowan is saying there, that's another subject. I mean, for another evening. However,
no, we want to touch that. We want to talk. We have to give answers.
No.
So talk.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. I understand, but we can't be discussing 4 subjects in all at the same time.
Yes,
that's virtually impossible.
But
what I would like to
compartmentalize them. Yes.
Is that religion, and especially for us, because everybody, it would seem, wants to have a monopoly on the Bible. Everybody's coming out with their own interpretation. Everybody says the Bible, even on one particular passage, probably is different interpretations, different thoughts, different meanings. Then obviously it's going to bring confusion. And it does bring, a lot of uncertainty when it comes to living a particular type of lifestyle. And again, it comes down to culture. It comes down to how one was brought up and how one was taught and given understanding about, then it's a complex thing. It really is a very much complex thing. So I mean, what I would say in coming down to an understanding purity is that really, for me, Andrew, and for me, Rowan, as an individual here and as a minister of the gospel to some extent, I really ask the Lord to help me to live that life and to find not trying to impose my ideals or my thoughts, because preaching is one, people think that, you're if I can use the word, you're vomiting on the people, expecting them to live the way how you're saying that one should live, because you're interpreting the scriptures, and that is not what I really should be doing. I should be prompting or even encouraging you to go back into the scriptures, so to speak, using the Bible as
What's that?
For you to really go into the scriptures and understand it for yourself, so that I believe when God then begins to open up your mind the way that He wants you to understand and know, then we all will come to some understanding. But obviously that doesn't happen, because everybody leaves with different understanding and different thoughts. So confusion then reigns.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Garry said, and Rowan and Ashraf, it's a discussion for another time. And I think we might have to have a topic, something like debunking the truth. What is the truth? How do we analyze the truth? Where do we get the evidence to know where's the base point? But it will have to be done another time, because I just realized we are 20 minutes over the 10 o'clock time. I realized that we're not finishing at 9 o'clock. I might have to make the show an hour and a half, but the late one normally is on a Saturday night, But Ashraf, you're there, yeah? Ashraf, I think she went for a call. Ron, you're there, yeah?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna finish off now, guys. I'm not gonna touch on this one. It was about the Bank of Jamaica governor, Ron Byers, was talking about that they need to constrain or hold back money because of the fact that it's gonna have inflation, a bit similar to what was happening here with the Bank of England governor and
Quantitative tightening.
Yeah, but people in Jamaica were saying it's a bit hypocritical to say that now, because you never said anything when the government guys were awarding themselves with so much 200% increase. But that is something for another time. But quantitative easing and all those sort of things are very important. I just want to remind persons that this Saturday, Ruan, and I hope you're able to come, and I hope to meet you.
Unfortunately, I'm not coming. I'm annoyed by the whole process.
You're annoyed by the process? What happened? If you don't know, off the record, I don't know.
No, I'm confident to talk about it, but I feel like we have, as Jamaicans, have so much to discuss and decipher between us before we make such crucial decisions which affect millions of people. I feel like it's being rushed, and I'm not confident with the integrity of all of the participants.
Are you talking the participant from the government level, or you're talking participant from the UK discussion? Because this is all a discussion, This is ensuring that it is not left in the hands of a few people, but to bring everyone aboard. What are you talking about? Are you talking about Jamaica part rushing it? Are you talking about the UK part?
I'm definitely talking about Jamaica's rushing it. The volume of people who are engaged with political high-level talks, I want to throw like a random percentage. It's probably 20% of Jamaicans across the board. It's not widely discussed politics, legislation. That not enough people know that Jamaica's tax system is underwritten by the UK. We got to decipher all of that first. How did that come to pass? There's so much to discuss.
But Ron, that's the purpose of these meetings.
They're too short. They don't involve enough people. They're not across all the platforms.
Ron, I hear what you're saying, and you're right about different opinions, but I'm going to disagree. And I tell you why I'm going to disagree, because...
Is that because you're hosting?
No, not because I'm hosting. No, not because I'm hosting. No. Well, yes, because I'm hosting, but because I personally... The reason why I actually get involved with this particular thing is because I believe that the education process is not being pushed so much from a Jamaica perspective. And I believe that as Jamaicans, just like how you flagged it up a while ago, need to take the bull by its horn and to expose some of these information. Just like what you said right there, that need to be said on the stage because, this event for
And that's the point. If I'm not invited to the event to give my opinion, someone who's a high level executive in the UK, it doesn't really make no sense because people that are going there are not high level executives in their own retrospective industries. So it seems to me like it's a conversation, but there's an underlining of hate and anguish and pain rather than fiscal comprehension. So that's just my opinion. I don't take it away from
I respect what you said, that it is your opinion. But when you say high level executive, what are you trying to say? Why you think you're not going to be able to articulate your position?
No, I definitely can, but there's too much to decipher. There's not enough people dealing with the current issues that we face. There's not enough comprehension for how beneficial the British have been. There's still a load of hate in the rhetoric. There's not enough tax receipts being delivered, or there's just so many problems with breaking away from a system which is going to have dramatic effects across England and Jamaica. It's too soon. It's premature.
But Ron, don't you think that before one can achieve something big, you got to take it step by step, inch by inch, a process.
Exactly. So if I saw people holding meetings, if I saw Jamaicans, for example, holding these same events, talking about geopolitics and then introducing people into that, and then social economics, and then fiscal aspects, tax, there's so many intricate things that make up what binds a country to another country, and then history as well. Not enough people know the origin of mankind and how it relates to modern day. Some people hate government. There's just so much missing from the discussion.
Okay, I hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday, I'm inviting you, and as you are aware that the UK have launched 3 meetings. We have had one in Birmingham, which is right there. There's one was in Nottingham as well. And the one is going to be this Saturday in Brixton House, 385 Cole Harbour Lane, S9. You can register on the site for Brixton House. And, it is an opportunity for persons within the overseas community. And I'm mindful when I say diaspora, within the overseas community, to come out and to share their views. What I'm showing now is the booking section, discussion on Jamaica Constitution, that is going to be on the site, which is on the Brixton House site. And there you are. You can book.
Sylbourne's hosting as well. You have to put that in lights as well.
No. Host. Anyway, because whatever. No, yes, Diana Mackenzie will be the host of it. We're going to have Ambassador Rocky Mead, Diana Scott Motley, Professor Rosalie Hamilton, Thyra Johnson Reed for Youth Voice from the Diaspora, Matunda Makilla, barrister and former, public defender, Dr. Carlton Brown, and myself will be part of the moderating team. And so there's a difference between hosting and moderating. So therefore, I believe in being a part of the solution, and we all have to be a part of solution. And the point which you have made, Rowan, is so poignant, and I look forward to seeing you Saturday. I'm going to actually personally register you and register Garry as well.
Garry, is there going to be snacks? Is there food there?
Well, definitely. I got from a Caribbean bakery some gourmet patties. There are going to be some gourmet patties there, and there's some bits there, and there's a bar there which one can purchase because the place is not our own. So
I understand.
Have to buy drinks. So I look forward to see you there, and I look forward to meeting you as well. We hopefully to have as well KC, King's Council, Hugh Small, who is presently going to be in Budapest as a part of the Atlantic team, not running, of course, and Daniel Archer may come in as well at some point. And it's going to be streamed, definitely. It's going to be streamed here on my platform and on MediaNet and on Facebook as well, and via Zoom. What we're trying to do, Garry and Rowan, is to actually get it out there. So when Rowan speak and he articulate his voice, which I'll make sure people will hear some of the views. Right, Rowan?
I'm not convinced, to be fair. I appreciate the effort.
Yeah. I don't know. Just like how you keep pushing me, I'm pushing you as well, you know?
I'm doing what I need to do in the fiscal economy to get independent. I have no issue with Jamaica being a republic, but there's so much that we need to address first. And I want men to increase their salaries. I want men to upskill. I want them to have more of a role in geopolitics. I want Jamaica's name to be first, not always reactive. I want to be, taking the bull by the horns and preventing global issues. There's so much we need to do. So I support freedom of speech and I support debate. And I guess that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, no, I respect that. And as someone just said, our meeting like these being launched in the US, we're talking about from the UK because we took this up on our board on our own and Noreen, but I believe that in the USA they should be doing something like that, and I believe that the commission has not been proactive to really engage with the diaspora, and that's one of the reasons why persons like myself, Dan, Matunda, and even guys like Rowan talking about this, believing that we can't allow a few bunch of persons to deal with this. And Rowan, I agree with you.
Yes, but it's not the UK. It's not like the UK.
No. I'm just trying to say that. I agree with you that this is not something should be rushed. That's the point I was going to say.
I'm thankful for that.
Not something.
Because remember, this is born from the Jamaica's decision. The UK hasn't said, "Hey, we want you to leave." So clearly, it's coming from Jamaica's side. And if we investigate that, we start to see raw feelings about the British, which hasn't been addressed or fact checked either.
Yes, Garry, last word.
No, I think Rowan has said everything for me.
Rowan, your voice has been used and referred to at many times by.
Thank you, Sylbourne. You have been hosting these shows excellent. The way the structure that you've got up and how you manage it is top quality.
And that is why I needed to be Saturday to sort of ensure that I follow through accordingly.
That's right. If you was host, I would come. To be fair, I'll keep it 100.
But I'm moderating it. I mean, it's we're all together. We're all in this together.
Agreed. We are in this together.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening. Thank you very much, everyone. Everyone, all the best. Take care, everyone. Bye bye. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining. And Garry, thank you for Hashrag is back. Hashrag, you're back. I didn't know you're back.
Yeah, so the last word I'd like to have here, which I could have said it before, Garry left, but it is that, as usual for me, I'm going to say these panels, these people who represent us on any one of these panels and these groups that they make, I'm not seeing true representation. Nobody coming back to the people. We don't know what. If it wasn't for your program, I wouldn't even know that there are these things being kept in England. We are not made aware of these things. Nobody live stream or says anything to anybody. And I don't know, but it is poor representation. The persons who are chosen for these panels or these groups that supposedly represents Jamaica. We need more grassrooted, ground-rooted people to be on these platforms representing Jamaica.
You're so right, and you're so right about that. And last week there was some discussion with the patriotic movement in Jamaica, the Marcus Garvey Party. I think you saw that, and in a way, everybody's talking. But I believe the most important thing is what everyone who is talking from there, here, and there need to synchronize and come together and to form a block and to be a strong voice. because you got the advocates group as well, and then you got the political fraternity as well, who may have their own agenda. But I strongly believe, this is what I believe, that the commission and the government could do so much better to actually engage with the people and to get the word out. Just like how someone, Noreen Hunt, said, our meetings like these being launched in the USA, we just took upon ourselves and just do this thing. And what the government of Jamaica should be doing right now with the group, unless they don't want people to know much about this and they want to fast track this thing to get a result, they should have actually come on board, Ashrag, in a way, and let's get this going in Canada, USA, all over, get everybody talking. Even the recent thing which happened in Jamaica recently, which was the emancipation thing with all these things going up in the air, they should have spent 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and somebody presenting to all those people that Jamaica started the process of independence and will be ultimately independent when we become a republic. But not jumping up and down and say we are independent. It beggars belief when I see everybody going around and say we're independent. I don't know about you, Ashrag, but I can't jump up and down and say we're independent.
Independent plantocracy. And mind you, get a gag order on your program because they want to now shut down the PAAC. But that's another time for another discussion.
Yes.
I told you the news yesterday where the first lady was saying that maybe they just need to shut down the PA. They're going to shut down every agency.
Is it the first lady, the Governor General wife?
Oh no, is she? Oh yeah, sure. Well, the first lady, I don't know. Our Prime Minister's wife. Our Prime Minister's wife.
Let's get it right. Yes.
Yes, our Prime Minister's wife. Anyway,
what she said?
They need to. I sent you the news clipping yesterday.
I know, but I want you to.
She's suggesting that persons are not attending the PAAC meetings, so they need to shut down the PAAC. To which Peter Phillipson came in and he was saying that cannot be done, and there has to be a way around it. So they have gagged the Integrity Commission, and now they want to shut down the PAAC. I don't know what's happening. So our Mr. Biles, I'm sorry I didn't discuss that, because the professor at university who addressed him, he addressed him so eloquently and he asked him some provocative questions. So I think you should, do this at some other time.
Yes, you mean a bit about Mr. Biles saying that they should hold off giving people money, innit? While at the same time, they didn't say anything when the 200%.
He actually had said that the raise, the 300% increase and all of that to the politicians could not affect the economy. That's what he said. He said that.
Oh my days!
He had said that.
I know
in May. He said that in May.
And now when people are saying that they're going to get more money, he's saying don't give them much money because it's going to create inflation.
Yes, and the professor at university addressed him well. He addressed him well. But
that's hypocrisy, Garry, to the highest level. The poor people don't get money. It's a big
and it's talking about the private sector, because the private sector, remember, the private sector came out and saying we're going to have to increase our the private sector workers' pay because they are leaving, because the public sector has now made us look as if we're not doing anything. So private sector persons are leaving private sector to go to the public sector. So in order to keep them or to retain them, we are going to have to increase. And he said, no, that is going to push up inflation. Yeah. Really?
All right. Well, definitely we're going to do this another time.
Because I really did investigate that well. So when next you come, I'd like to be a part of this prestigious platform. And thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure is mine. Thank you, Garry. We got Ruan over this time. We got Hashrag. We're moving them off. I don't know if we migrate. I don't know if we have migrated them off TikTok or we balance it at the same time.
I'm going to know.
TikTok is very important. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Garry. Remember, Garry. Remember that the firmament part of the waters. above the
Yes,
heavens
yeah.
and below. Anyway, thanks very much.
No, I think what you have said, in regards to the moon and all of that. I mean, and the scriptures are so true. A lot of
So
lies
true.
have been propagated, and
So
what
true.
scientists now are finding out and revealing, obviously because of the many years of what mankind has been told, what we have been told and taught. Obviously, it's going to take probably longer than that to get it out of us, but time is running
Mm.
out, as you know, Andrea. If you know the scriptures
Okay,
well,
I know, and I know,
Mm.
I
time
know
is
because
running.
it it's given me cognitive dissonance, so I do know.
Yeah,
I do know.
yes, good.
All right.
I
God
do
bless
know.
brother.
Well, Sylbourne, I'll see you on TikTok for the winding up minutes.
Well, I don't know. Well, let's see. Is it Gary? Gary, come over on TikTok.
Nice meeting you, Garry. Nice meeting
All right
you.
then, my friend. It's nice meeting you.
Okay.
God
All
bless.
right,
Thank you very much.
Andrea. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Andrea. Okay. Cheers. Bye bye.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You.
yeah. Okay. Thank you for Noreen for coming on, Suzette also, and other persons on the live, those on TikTok and those on Facebook. Remember to like and subscribe the author. And remember to like and subscribe Sylbourne TV on YouTube, especially YouTube, and Super Sylby on TikTok. And follow Gary. Tell us about your program
Yeah.
again. So Gary, you have your program every 2 minutes in the day. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean every day, roughly. I mean, it's between the hours of 11 and 1. Now it's very, the times are not concrete because it depends on what I'm doing in the day, because since I'm in ministry, I could be called here and there and all of that.
Mm.
But it's always in the day, but it's always on my Facebook, Garry K. Graham Sr., or YouTube. Please subscribe, Garry K. Graham Sr., or on Twitter, or X, as they say, X. It is Preacher at Preacher258.
Wow, Gary, you're going on with some serious things, man. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune into Gary on Everyday Live, talking about the word. And actually, what he does, he delves into it in depth. He actually restrained himself at this point in a sense of cautioned. He cautioned himself, but when he's on the YouTube and everything, that caution is gone, right, Gary? He just goes straight at it.
Well, I mean, I try not to. It's not so much. I don't. It's not so much preaching. I don't do a little bit of teaching, I would say, but also encouragement. But we're going through the scriptures. I mean, I'm on the 7th and last chapter of Micah. It's
Yes,
a book that probably preachers don't really preach or mention these days, but it's in the Bible.
yes,
But we go through the chapters, and we'll be going into Nahum later on, probably the week or next week. So
yes,
it's just about going into the scriptures, knowing what God really has given us through His
yes.
prophets
Mm.
for us, so that we could live better lives, really. So just come and have a walk with us. Just walk with us as
And,
we walk through
yeah,
the scriptures.
and Gary, it is very important, because they say the word of God, when you're dissecting the word of God, is actually you're somewhat building your relationship with Christ, because they say in the beginning
Yes.
was a word, and the word was God, and the word was with God, and the word became flesh, and it dwelt among men. So it's like we were talking tonight with my pastor. We're talking about being linked to the stream, being linked to the vine, being linked to the tree of Christ. You know what I mean? And what struck me today was one time I was walking in the park, as you all ladies and gentlemen know, I walk in the park in the morning, and some guys were taking down some trees. But one of the things I recognize a lot when I'm walking in the park, Gary, is that there are branches I see fall down at different times, and I'm saying that branch didn't fall down. And the guys broke down something to me, and ladies and gentlemen, do research this. What they said is that trees and the branches go through stress. They have stress levels, Gary.
Mhm.
So therefore, the
Yes.
trees actually shed the branches in order to survive.
Right. Right.
So and that was interesting. So I'm actually doing some research into that as well. But trees go through stress, and
They
and
do.
actually, And actually, what I found out again is that some trees, why you see there's space between them, is that they put poison out in their branches to stop other trees from coming close to them. I mean, they're like living mechanism.
Wow.
They're living mechanism. I tell you, some of the things I find out in the park, what can I say? Ladies and gentlemen, if you walk in the park, you won't be in the dark. All right, Garry, peace out, yeah?
God bless you, man. Take care.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining, and for those here, and peace out, and have a blessed day, and God bless you. See you Saturday night, and see you this Saturday, actually, in the day. Peace out. Bye.
Let's go.